heard them talking about we're gonna be launched through these big magnetic rings. Apparently they don't use any of the shuttle fuel anymore. They just launch us through those big rings, and they got these weird jets that take over and compress the air after we get out of the Earth, because right now we're a kilometer underneath the Earth.
John JON 388. Remember that plate. Remember that fucking car. They're an agent. So is the black one up ahead of me. I'm getting tired of these fucking pricks.
Here we go.
In New Brunswick there, right outside of St. John's, I got pulled over by the police, by the RCMP. And these RCMP were, to say the least, extremely understanding of my situation. Let's go back here. That minivan that I saw a couple times in my rearview mirror just so happened to be an undercover RCMP car. Now they followed me for approximately 10 kilometers, they said, catching me doing between 100 to 140 in a 100 zone. They saw me passing vehicles on double solid lines, driving on the wrong side, opposite side of double solid lines, all sorts of stuff, because I was trying to make this ferry to Digby, Nova Scotia from St. John's. And when I got pulled over, it was 1 p.m. and I was trying to make a 2 p.m. sailing, and I was told I had to be there for 1:30 if I wanted to make the sailing. So, after sitting there for approximately 25 minutes with the RCMP looking at his computer and talking to his associates and, 2 other vehicles leaving, and him and I sitting there on the side of the highway for 25 long minutes, I texted my dad and said, you may as well take the ferry without me. Now, an interesting thing about this is that when I got pulled over, I was actually behind my dad somehow. Even though when I left Woodstock, I was ahead of my dad, and I was going faster than my dad, somehow, when I got pulled over at 1 p.m., my dad had already made it to the ferry terminal. Now, I find it kind of odd that the same black SUV that had followed me for at least a couple hours was suddenly gone, and there's police, and my dad's texting me from the ferry saying, hurry up, if you get it here by 1:30, you can make it. And I'm telling him, I've been pulled over by the RCMP for a number of things. Now, after waiting 25 long minutes and wondering how the fuck did my dad get ahead of me to the ferry already, well, I've been speeding my ass off, how the fuck did he get ahead of me when I know for a fact I drive faster than my father, like speed-wise? I mean, I know this for a fact. It takes us just as long to fuel up, it takes us just as long to grab a bite to eat along the way. I was ahead of him, and I was speeding at least 20 kilometers an hour faster than him for at least 2 or 3 hours. How the fuck did he get to the ferry ahead of me? So after 25 long minutes of wondering all these things and wondering if they're going to tow my van, wondering if I'm going to lose my license on the spot and have to walk the rest of the way to my parents' place in Nova Scotia, I mean, they had all the power in the world to just take my entire life away from me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What ended up happening?
Docked at Pearson Incorporated International Space Station. Thank you again for flying and welcome.
I encountered one of the
space.
best police officers I have ever met in my life. That's what ended up happening. I'm going to show you something here. This is a warning ticket. This is a warning ticket for vehicle not properly lit. One of my brake lights was out. Turn signal worked, but the brake light was out. It's actually the wiring. It was a warning ticket. Warning ticket for speeding by 25 kilometers an hour over the limit. A warning ticket for passing unlawfully. I got a warning ticket for driving without reasonable consideration for others. Even though I actually was driving with reasonable consideration for others, the fact is they didn't see it that way. Remember how I told you that they followed me for approximately 10 kilometers before I finally realized that there was an officer behind me and pulled over? And I was profusely apologizing as soon as I realized it was the police. Failing to yield to a police vehicle. A warning ticket. This is an actual ticket that I need to pay by July 31st for $292 for driving on the left side or over double solid lines. What? What the fuck? This is what I am saying in my head as I'm profusely thanking the officer and wishing that he has a great day and a great life, and blessing that guy with my spirit and love in my heart. Because what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? Warning tickets? Constable Brett Knox. This guy has got to be the best officer I have ever met in my entire life. I mean, the truth is that I was driving outside of the law. And I did fail to yield to a police officer. I saw him in my mirror a couple times. It didn't click into my head that he was a cop because it was an unmarked minivan, and the only lights he had going were two little lights on the dash that, quite frankly, I couldn't see 100 meters behind me. The fact is, I was trying to make the ferry, and I would have made it on time if I hadn't been stopped by the police. The fact is that yes, a couple drivers on the road were making a big deal out of my driving because I did cut one off a little bit because he was being a douchebag and speeding up while I was trying to pass him on double solids while the police officer's behind me. Oh man! Holy fuck! Warning tickets and one $300 ticket. I'm fucking lucky. I'm fucking lucky as fuck. I'm talking gold horseshoes coming out my ass lucky. The fact is that they made me wait until 1:25 p.m. before I was allowed to leave the scene. And that was at the sign saying entering the city of St.John. I thought for sure I would not make that ferry. But somehow, miracle of miracles, I drove the speed limit the whole way with a tail on me, which you're going to see. And then I made that ferry at 1:36. I arrived there, and apparently my dad had put in a little reservation saying my son might make it, you know, on the tail end. Give him a sec. And, you know, that I'd been pulled over by police, please understand. Somehow, I managed to make it doing the speed limit and even getting lost downtown a little bit before finding my way back, just a couple minutes. But still, according to Google Maps, that was a 16-minute drive, and I made it in 11 minutes doing the speed limit. And getting lost for 2 minutes. What? What the fuck is going on with relative time around me? That's what I started wondering when I actually made it on time to the ferry and got on the ferry with my father. Think about it. Think about it.
We got a tail.
plate. As soon as I pulled out, this person pulled up behind me. They were doing like 120, 130, and then they slowed right down to my speed. Right now, I'm doing 105 down a hill. I don't know what the speed limit here. I think it is 100 or 110. But you can see there are other vehicles catching up. Hello YouTube, this is Ben dwelling in Vancouver. I am on the St.John / Derby ferry between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia now. Almost at the end of my journey. I'll be going this evening. And I'm discovering an interesting thing here. Something they don't do on the west coast is a lot of fog. And something else they don't do is honk their horns like this. I can hear all sorts of ships out there honking their horns in the fog. I mean, look how foggy it is. It's pretty fucking foggy. And I can hear all these ships honking their horns in the fog so that they can all locate each other and stay the fuck away from each other and not hit each other. Because there are a lot of ships around here. You hear that? That's not our ship. That's a different ship. This is something I've never seen in BC. Check out how close that boat came to us. You never see that on the west coast. There's like way more traffic here than in the waters than there is on the west coast. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I get to Nova Scotia, I find this place, and they're filling me up by a truck. I've never seen that before, but what they use to fill up those large cylinders for everybody's heating homes throughout the last three provinces also hooks up to my truck. So when I'm out of propane on the side of the road in Quebec or Ontario, I just gotta hail one of these guys down. All right, I just gotta say. Well, what does that road lead down to?
Down to another house.
Another house.
I'll show you the statistics.
I want to see the property lines.
They're not evidently visible.
All right, I made it. This is my parents'
Give me
place.
a hug.
Oh, hey, Mom.
Give him a pile of money.
Well,
A couple of sand traps.
this is the view from one of my parents' property lines.
Money if you don't have to call up
The property behind me there is my parents,
Billy.
and this is the Nova Scotia coast.
Besides, they left a few
Fundy
branches
Bay,
in
I
the
think it's
grass
called.
down
I
there.
don't know.
Gotta get rid of them yet.
Don't quote me. There are flies everywhere, all over this place. I am going to have to find a way to repel these.